I mean, we were all involved at Chick-fil-A most summers. And back then, I think they had different labor laws if you were the operator's kid. So there was a lot of summers where like the kid cow costume would come out and we'd be in it.
Well, hello and welcome to this week's WealthBuilders Podcast. This is going to be an amazing podcast because I have got a dad and daughter duo with me. I want to introduce to you Stevan Stein and his beautiful daughter, Zoe. Do you guys want to say hi?
Hello.
They have got an amazing story. Stevan, I'm going to ask him to unpack this for you, but he owns Chick-fil-A's. They're in real estate. And I was just telling Zoe before we got on, she's so entrepreneurial. So I really am excited for us to unpack like how this all happens. And with Wealth Builders, we're all about family, all about generational wealth. So this is going to be a very, very good podcast. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that we've got a free offer today. This is a really great booklet by Bill Epperhart. It's called Kingdom Stewardship, Understanding Good and Bad Debt. Do you know, of all the questions we get, this is one of the most common questions people have. Is it okay to have debt? And the answer is, of course, yes, it is if it's done correctly. And so Billy unpacks that. This is free to you in a digital download. So if you would like a copy of this booklet, go ahead and click on the link below and we will email you a PDF so that you can learn all about understanding good and bad debt. All right, Stevan and Zoe, thanks so much for being here with me.
It's my pleasure.
It's so fun. And we have not rehearsed anything, so this is going to be very off the cuff, which is what we always do. But I would love for you, Stevan, to start with you and just share with our audience some of your background. A lot of people that have been at the event certainly know both of you, but a lot of people watching haven't been at our event. So tell us your story.
My story? Well, I was born at an early age. All of you are laughing at home. I'm born and raised in Texas. Met Tammy in high school, and we got married in college. My dad was a coach. My parents were teachers, so I thought I wanted to coach college basketball, right?
Yes.
So I grew up in an environment where it was like, you know, rub some dirt on it, get back in there, tough it out, quit your crying, and that was all just from Tammy. But anyway, so I wanted to coach college basketball. We got married in college, had Zoe's older brother, Noah, just before I graduated, and started to realize that was not going to be the direction I was going to go in. Yeah. So at that point, I got a degree, and I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And my minor was kind of like, get me out of here.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
So I did graduate from the University of North Texas, go Mean Green, and we decided after Noah was born to just move away. So we went on an adventure, kind of, you know, a little Bilbo thing for you, Zoe. I'm going on an adventure. You can cut that out if you want. So we did. We moved to Asheville, North Carolina, and I had, after college a little bit before we moved, I worked in full service, restaurants, and it was one of those things that I said, well, this is another one I'm not going to do in life.
Yeah.
We moved to Asheville, North Carolina, and of course I get a job in restaurants, and I hated it. I did not want to do that anymore. But then one Saturday morning, I went to a men's breakfast at the local church, and it was a networking breakfast. And I sit next to a guy named Bill. Bill, if you're watching, how's it going? Mm-hmm. And he's asking me all these questions just about myself. And he's, 20 years older than me or so. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize at the time I was being interviewed. And Bill took a breath, and I finally said, Bill, what do you do? He's like, well, I own the Chick-fil-A. I was like, you can own a Chick-fil-A?
Wow.
So I was intrigued, and he told me about the corporate purpose, glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that's entrusted to us, and to have a positive influence on everyone who comes in contact with Chick-fil-A. And I was like, okay, this is a little different than what I thought I was getting into with college sports. Yes. The values alignment was much more evident. And so I said, well, Bill, tell me more. And he told me about the business opportunity, how you could be in business for yourself, but not alone. And I was hooked. I thought, well, this is checking off all the boxes. I get to be a part of a team. I get to coach young people. I get rewarded for my efforts. So all of, I guess, the entrepreneurial aspects of coaching that that were present in business, he showed me at that breakfast. And so I ended up going to work for Bill, learned how to bread chicken and wash dishes and order the truck and write a schedule. I mean, just learned it all by doing it. And fast forward about 5 years, I get an opportunity to take over an existing franchise in Fort Collins, Colorado.
So that's how you ended up here.
Correct. So 2005, we moved to Fort Collins. I took over the location in the Foothills Fashion Mall. It was a cook in front mall. I don't know that anybody's really going to know what that means, but basically the registers are here. You're facing the customers, and then right behind you are all the machines. So we're cooking everything right out in front of everybody. So it was an interesting situation. I ran that location for 4.5 years.
Okay.
And then we opened the first freestanding location on College and Horsetooth in Fort Collins in 2009. And then in 2018, we got to open another restaurant at I-25 in Harmony in Timnath.
Wow.
So
this journey, and I know there is a lot that happened in between there, but when you started out, you said you weren't going to go into restaurants, and you ended up working, washing dishes, doing everything. Did you say for 5 years?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so Zoe, do you remember that time? Or were you too little?
Pre-2009, I remember when the freestander opened, the grand opening, because we all got to camp on the floor of the playground.
That's right.
I remember that part. We stayed the night before because didn't people like line up in the parking lot?
Yeah, we did the first
before?
100.
Yeah.
Really?
They got like free food or something, so the parking lot was filled with people like camping out the night before.
Oh my goodness.
And then we camped inside, like in the playground for the next day for when it opened.
Oh,
the
wow.
first official open.
So you have a good memory of that. And then just from your perspective too, you're very entrepreneurial. How much of watching your dad doing this business, did Tammy work with you too, or she was home with the kids and you were focused on the restaurant?
Yeah, no, she's always been home with the kids, but when we took over the mall, there was some times where I really needed her help, usually delivering catering orders. If she were here, she would tell you some of those stories. I'd call her up and say, hey, we've got a delivery. I need you to get up here right away. And we lived pretty close. And she's like, well, all the kids are down for a nap right now. I was like, sorry, this has got to happen. So she'd load them up in the car, and she'd come up and she would deliver catering orders and the kids in the back of the car sleeping or whatever. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So 5 years, and I think during that time you probably didn't make much money.
No.
From what you were sharing. What kept you going during that time with really probably very little reward?
I mean, that's a great question. And some of you guys, I know you want to quit, but don't.
That's great advice.
There were times when I wanted to. I thought, we can't stay here. This is not feasible. But Tammy was actually very encouraging. It's like, no. There's going to be an opportunity. There's going to be an opportunity, and we just stuck it out. An opportunity did present itself. And when it did, it was a bit of a game changer for us to go from that mall location out onto the street like that. So I'm forever grateful that we did stick it out. It was hard sledding though for a while.
Oh yeah. And the hours. So Zoe, when you think about your dad and work, was he gone a lot? Was he gone a lot of hours, or how did that balance work with the family?
He was gone a lot, but
Had to be.
He was working hard. I mean, I don't remember anything changing all at once, but it was gradual. I remember when there was not very much money. Like, I remember our classic meal being like a boiled egg and like steamed broccoli and a slice of Parmesan cheese, like so exactly. Like, we had that dinner so much when I was younger, and then it just like kind of shifted. I remember that. And I mean, we were all involved at Chick-fil-A most summers. And back then, I think they had different labor laws if you were the operator's kid. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of summers where, like, the kid cow costume would come out and we'd be in it. Like, on one of the days for, like, what was it, Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day or whatever, like.
Cow Appreciation Day.
That one.
Oh, yes. My goodness.
Where, that's what we would make a little paycheck by the end of summer, like, helping out on different days or sometimes as punishment.
The work was different at times.
It would change. It was like we would do like dining room, like restocking and stuff, which was, I think Noah for sure started when he was 9. I maybe started at 10 or 11 helping out sometimes during the summer if it was busy. So I was like, I'll restock straws, you know, and like refill the ketchups to make sure they're all orderly and whatever. And I think at that point, like, it wasn't a special job, no, but when you're that young and you look at other people that have the same job, you're like, I'm 10, but I can do what that 22-year-old is doing, you know, and we're both getting paid for it. So I think you kind of get that idea that, like, I can do this. I can do what they're doing. I'm just as capable of restocking straws as someone else is, you know?
It starts like a really good work ethic. And that was probably a lot of what you and Tammy were trying to do, is like, what can we do to instill work ethic in the kids? And tell us about that time. Like, what effort would you have to put forth to make sure that the kids were included?
Oh boy. Well, Tammy drove a lot of the activity at home. Praise the Lord, she was able to do that even through those times.
Amazing.
But all the kids ended up being really hard workers, you know, and I got to watch my parents too. You know, I didn't love school, and I don't have any kind of fancy degree or anything that makes me special and able to do this. I just watched my dad outwork everybody around him all the time. And so I wanted to make sure that the kids knew they had to work hard if they wanted things in life. As they got older, I mean, Zoe probably doesn't remember this as being a great life lesson, but it's like they'd come to me with some questions, and there was a whole lot of, well, I think you can figure that out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anytime we got out the car, work hard, do your best, have fun.
Yeah.
Every time we got out the car to go to school, to go to whatever.
I forgot about that.
Dad said it every single time.
Work hard, do your best, have fun.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't remember where I got that. I probably stole it. I don't have a lot of originals. But whoever I stole it from, you get credit. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys have been on this journey as a family together. And now reflecting back on that, Zoe, if you were to look at where you're at today, how has the culture, I would maybe say, of your parents and family in the Chick-fil-A journey, how has that impacted you today?
Well, I think everybody kind of subconsciously, and I mean, some people have to work harder, you know, considering if their parents don't do as well or if it looks different. But I think everybody looks at it and they're like, whatever my parents did, I have that same capability.
That's
you know?
So good.
So like, it's possible if they're doing it, if they came from here and got to here, I can do the exact same thing.
Wow. So is there anything when you face things, do you have a tenacity about you that you could say, I mean, you really don't quit at anything as far as what I know, just getting to know you?
Yes. Tenacity, sorry. I'm like trying to remember your question. Tenacity for facing problems.
Yeah, just
I would say
Yeah, that you're like, hey, something's going to work out here.
I think what's come up a few times actually, and Dad can attest to this, is sometimes the tougher it is, the more I get going, you know? But the easier it is, the more, as he so nicely quoted to me once, he's like, don't get comfortable in a closet, you know? And it's when you like start to think smaller because life is just comfortable enough to get comfortable, you know, and quit reaching and quit moving forward for the next goal. So sometimes the more uncomfortable life gets, the more you just get it together. Like,
that is
coming
cool.
here, like for Karis, whatever, like with the turning over for rent just this last week.
Yes.
It's like you find out your rent situation is running out, and that was on Tuesday. And today I have a new place on is it Wednesday?
It's Wednesday.
It was like 1
less
week.
than 24. Oh, that's like a week.
Yeah, it was like 1 week later. And as soon as I found out my rent situation was up, I called immediately to everybody that I knew of and had options just even remotely on the table, because it's like, hey, here's the problem. You have till the 31st. Don't wait till the 31st.
Wow.
What can I do to solve the problem?
Here's a funny story. Zoe, when she was little, she didn't want to learn to ride her bike.
Right? You did it?
There was a lot of things that she just didn't want to do. And so she's talking about tenacity. She learned when she finally decided she wanted to learn her bike, because Noah's riding all over the neighborhood. Yeah. She's like, I want to learn to do that. And so she did it in one day, and didn't want any help either.
Oh my goodness.
So she does. So to answer, I think from my perspective, the answer to that question is yes, she's tenacious when she's into it. If she's not into it, you can't
talk her into it, right?
Yeah, it's not happening. But if she's into it, you can't stop her.
That is really cool. I think with so many young people today, society is trying to make people feel like they're victims. They don't have, a chance. So if they would run into that situation, they would maybe just feel pity or whatever. And instead, you're plowing through. So what were some things, Stevan, that you and Tammy did to just really help your kids to know that they really can do anything and to not slip into that victim mentality?
Boy, that's interesting. I mean, Tammy's been telling me to quit crying for our whole marriage. So I don't think on the spiritual giftings list that empathy and compassion are terribly high for either one of us.
Yeah.
So there was and Tammy grew up on a farm. I mean,
yeah,
it was just
it's around a farm too. You work.
I'm not really sure that it was anything terribly conscious at times, but there was just a culture of, no, you're going to have to get after this. Nobody's going to do this for you. My dad always says, nothing worth having ever came easy. And I'm sure there's lots of different variations of that quote all over. But that one really, really stuck with me. And I've said that to the kids a few times. And I don't know, I've even thought about that one enough over the years to say, well, if it did come easy, was it really worth it?
And that's a great question.
And so, I don't know, we just did the best we could with what we had. If I had more time to think about it, I could probably come up with something. If Tammy were here, she would tell me, this is what we did, Stevan. Say this. She's going to see this and be like, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that?
We'll have to get Tammy on next time too.
I know. She's the one. She's the one that really kind of drives a lot at home, huh?
Yep, she does.
And she keeps track of the household and things too, which is amazing. Yeah. So when you look at even the Chick-fil-A journey, I mean, I know that you ventured out. Obviously you're doing really well. And then you realize that, hey, we have to diversify a bit. So you've done some real estate. Mm-hmm. When did you make that decision to start moving into real estate? And then Zoe, I know you have ventured a bit in that too. You were taking over one of the properties for a while and things. But how important is it for people that have high earning potential, they're making a lot of money, to take that money and do something like real estate with it?
Well, I'll tell you what, our biggest motivation was taxes. We were just, it was a short-term pain reliever to try to figure out how are we going to limit some of this, because we were paying a lot in taxes every year. I'm honored to pay taxes in this country. Yeah. However, I don't want to pay any more than I have to.
Yes, I agree.
I think I can steward some of those dollars pretty darn well, and if given the opportunity, I could direct them in a good direction. So that was a big motivator for us, and really probably my accountant would have said, 15 years ago, I've been telling you this, Stevan, and I was not hearing it. But probably in 21, 22 was about the time frame that we started looking at real estate as a way to diversify our investing and limit our tax liability. And Tammy and I got a hold of WealthBuilders, and I'd seen Billy here and there in some of Andrew's things, whether it was a business conferences or those kinds of things. And I always thought, well, that guy's interesting. And then going to actually, I didn't go to the workshop. That I bought the USB and watched it at home.
Got it.
And I broke it down in several sessions and watched it and started to get a picture for what real estate could do. And so Tammy and I, we jumped in kind of whole hog and joined the coaching program and got after it from there. So
wow, that is so awesome. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to ask you each a question from your perspective, okay?
Okay.
So Zoe, I'm going to ask you first. What are some things that you have learned from your dad and of course your mom that has helped you as an entrepreneur, as someone that's going to go forward and knowing you're going to be successful? Like, what would be a handful of things that you really gleaned and recognized have really influenced your life?
I I'm sure there's multiple. Sure
better be.
Well,
It's a lot of work.
it was a lot on your part. Yeah. Well, I remember, well, it's less sometimes the efforts, exactly how they looked that like taught me something, but it was the mindset behind it that I feel like I got more from. Like there was a while when we were living in Fort Collins and every morning Tommy Newberry had this like, how long was the video? Like 3-5 minutes?
Yeah.
And it was, what did he call it? What was it called?
I don't think it's his Monday motivation, but it was something else.
It's something.
It was like 40 days to a positive...
joy-filled life.
Joy-filled life. That's what it was.
So it's like,
came back.
It was like 5 minutes in the morning. And is Tommy Newberry necessarily my cup of tea? Like his style, he's very perky, very, very loud, very first thing in the
Kind of
morning.
intense, yeah.
But Dad would make, at that point, we were on the kick of like, oatmeal is the best possible, healthiest food that you can be having for breakfast. So Dad would make oatmeal and have
really,
like
I
8
just
different
got
toppings,
a new
you know?
pot, so then I thought
was
this would
very
be a great
excited about it.
oatmeal pot.
He would have that and it'd be like, here's the oatmeal with all the toppings, you know, have the best start breakfast to the best day ever, you know. And then he would pop me, Noah, and Ava in front of the iPad where Tommy Newberry was doing his like motivational morning, you know, like, what are you thankful for? What are these 5 things? You know, like, how are you going to reach your goal by the end of the day? Like, what are you going to do? And he's there like very perky and Dad's like, here's your oatmeal, you know, like, and that was like every single day. And we'd be there like wrapped in blankets, you know, just like
Acting like they didn't love it.
acting. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, we knew for certain that Dad wanted us to do well. Wow. And not everybody has that assurance from their parents. So that's kind of a big deal.
That's a big deal.
To just know that your family wants you to do well. But also 100% believes that you can. And I think if they're confident that you can, kind of takes more willpower to believe that you can't. If you have that much being put into you at all times, like, yes, you can, yes, you can, yes, you can, you will, you know? So if you're trying to say, no, I can't, in our household, it's like,
that
unacceptable.
Nobody
no, you can't.
Nobody wants to hear what you can't do.
Exactly. Nope, not interested. Not in our household. So it's like, don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do. Don't tell me about the problem. Tell me about the solution you're thinking of. Like,
amazing.
that was the mindset. That was kind of how it played out, was the oatmeal and the breakfast in front of Tommy Newberry in the morning.
That's cool.
But we knew exactly how our parents felt about us and our capabilities. Like, I've never, ever felt like they thought I wasn't capable. Only that I wasn't trying hard enough. You know? Which I think is that two-edged sword probably for most people. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're not trying enough. You know, you can get that from your parents. But if you also know that they think that you're capable, like even just hearing that once in a blue moon, you know? And I'm words of affirmation, and so is Dad. But, you know, just like hearing it, you retain it, and just like hold on to that. You're like, yes, I can. They believe that I can. I believe that I can. I'm going to do it. Anything I want to do, I can do it.
Wow.
Or I'll figure it out. I'll research it out until I can find it out. It's like we have too many resources to not be able to figure it out. You have the internet. You have multiple points of perspective.
This is true.
Put it together. If it doesn't work the first time, then at least you took the step towards it working.
That's
like, what did you not do right? Okay, well, course correct and do it right the second time.
Look at that. So she remembers all these sayings. Does that surprise you to hear those come out?
Sometimes you think as a parent, you're just spitting in the wind a little bit, but then, you know, it's in there. You know, when they're young, cool. they get it. So
that is awesome. So now from a parent perspective, Stevan, what advice would you give to parents when you look back on things that, you know, if they're hearing this and they're like, wow, I really want my kids to believe the way Zoe, like nothing's impossible. What are some things that you would share with them to do?
Well, when thinking about Zoe's comment on mindset is a big deal, and it's not something you can instill in a kid once. You can't just say it one time. You have to cultivate it over a lot of years. And then things like that, they come up, you know, train them up in the way they should go. When they're old, they won't depart from it. I think it's playing out. What was the question again?
Just what advice, just kind of advice that you would give to parents listening to just know, hey, what did you do or what would you share with them to do to help raise their kids with this, like, I can do anything mentality that Zoe has?
Yeah, well, I put other resources in front of them that were much smarter than me to explain how they could do that. So I leaned on a lot of different people over the years. Tommy Newberry is one of them. He's been a mentor of mine for a while. He's a guy in Atlanta that he wrote a great book called Success Is Not an Accident. So I started reading that back when I worked at Chick-fil-A in Asheville. I left Bill and went to work for another operator named Joel Benson, and Joel introduced me to that book, and I eventually got to meet Tommy and got to work with Tommy, and so he's really been influential in shaping just my mindset around setting and achieving goals and looking out into the future. And I've always wanted the kids to to know that if they set the goal the right way, they can work backwards. If they can begin with the end in mind, they can work backwards and get to where they want to go. Sometimes we're just so concerned about what's going on today that we don't think much about the future. Tommy tells us when you think far enough in advance, you have to use your imagination for that. And if you don't think far enough out, you're just using what you see around you. And that's a little too limiting.
That's really good.
Yeah, Tommy's a pretty smart fella. So I steal stuff from a lot of different smart people and try to pass it on.
And share
Can
with
you
the
remember
kids.
anything else? What kind of advice should I give people? What worked?
Kind of advice. I mean, well, I feel like it's modern. We're living in a different time.
Yeah.
Me and Dad still have a trade where sorry, I just whacked that. That's probably not good. Anyways, your dad has an Audible account filled with all of his success books that he's read and he quotes from.
That's right.
And if I want to listen to something like Lord of the Rings and use the credits on the Audible account, he's like, that's fine as long as you listen to one of my books for every one of yours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff is Dad said it, but I hear it again because I listen to the book as payment, sort of. And it's also, I enjoy myself. The last one I listened to was Atomic Habits.
Yes.
I really liked that.
I got that when we went for coffee. Remember we were sharing?
We were talking about it.
Yeah, so I bought that book. We've all been reading it. Dave's sharing it with his team. Nice. But that's really good. That's something where that started with your dad's Audible account, probably, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I preferred it because I think the author himself actually reads it, which is the best.
Yes.
Because they say it exactly like they would want you to hear it.
Right.
And yeah, there's a lot.
Which one of Billy's did you just download? You did E-Myth and you did his
something else. I haven't actually.
Well, I just listened.
That yet, but
I just listened to all of it, and I was really bummed that Billy's not reading his own books.
That's why I didn't listen to it.
Got
I'm just saying, so Billy, come on, man. Look,
the person reading it has a weird voice. I don't know. Something
Billy's
I was like,
Billy. Look, part of the Wealth Builder brand is Billy's personality. So if he's not reading his own books, it's like it's an opportunity. I'll just say.
Great. I'm glad that you brought that up, and we will present that to him.
He has like a lot of Southern, what is it called, like colloquialisms.
Yes.
He does.
Having someone else read it who maybe doesn't know what that means, it comes across funny when they're just saying a random like Southern saying, and they're like, maybe they've never
Billy
heard
would have
it.
delivered that way better.
Yeah, it just sounds really good when he says it. You're like, oh, of course, I see it in my mind. You know,
that is amazing. But that's so cool that there's like that trade-off. It's a little thing, but it's like, okay, you can read Lord of the Rings, but if you read one of my books too, so it kind of, you keep your kids growing. And that's amazing. I just think this is super helpful, and I appreciate both of you being on. We're going to do another podcast, just so you know, with Stevan talking about leadership and really digging into that Chick-fil-A. But you guys are just a great example of how to bring up a family, work together, instill values. And I'm just so grateful that you joined us today. Thank you. Any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience?
I don't know. Not off the top. You have something?
No, I
No,
I think you got it
I'm good
all.
with directed questions.
I know.
What kind of answer here? An open-ended one?
I'm not a big expository speaker. Give me a question.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
guys have shared a lot in this very short period of time. And I just love the really the culture that you've created in your family. And just hearing from Zoe too, you know that is going to carry on to the next generation because it's really in you. And I'm sure with all the other kids too.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Stevan. Thank you, Zoe, for being on today.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind all of you about this free download. If you want to get this, you can click on the link below. And it is Kingdom Stewardship, Understanding Good and Bad Debt. Also, the week that this is airing, we are doing our business boot camp, and we've got 2 sessions left. And so if you didn't know about it and you want to register, do that. It's an amazing week of training on business and nonprofits. And you can go ahead and click on the link below to get registered. And even if you missed the first part of the week, no worries. We will send you access to all the videos from the week. So thank you so much, Wealth Builders family, for tuning in. Share this podcast with others. We love and appreciate you, and have a great rest of your day.